we were talking, this team goes as the big three goes. But if your bench actually contributes, that's not necessarily the truth. That means they can have, an off night shooting and still be all right. And that was, that's a huge benefit.
Hank McCoy.
Especially from a bench standpoint, right? Like, how many times throughout the season have we talked about our bench is not what we had hoped it would be, right? And AEG was, at points in time, the only guy who was contributing off the bench.
Yeah.
Now we've got Royce O'Neale. Eubanks has been figuring it out here and there in spurts. Hopefully we can get a little bit more consistency there as well.
Yeah.
Bol, even though it's limited minutes, we pretty much now have determined that we're only going to see him in the second and the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But still contributes in those limited minutes that he's been getting. If you can rely on Royce O'Neale. I feel like you can rely on Royce O'Neale for 7 to 10 points every night.
Okay.
Pretty consistently, sometimes a little bit more.
More, yeah.
If you can rely on EG for 10 to 13 points,
Ooh.
I feel like
Now you're dangerous.
I feel like it's good.
Now
right?
you're dangerous. That what you just said, now you're dangerous. Now you're a team like, oh boy. Because if you can get that, if you just stick to those numbers, come playoff time, that's going to be ridiculously hard to deal with. So that's the goal,
You
Lynch.
just needed to be a smidge more consistent sometimes
That's
with
it.
EG.
Yeah.
Just a smidge more consistent.
Agreed.
The bench went 9 of 14 from 3 tonight.
Yeah.
From 3. Like, that's your whole differential right there.
That's
I mean, that's if you can get a fraction of that from this group.
Yeah.
Add 4 or 5 additional threes off that bench. I'm not going to be greedy. Like, I mean, if you get 6, 7, you're probably really cooking. On a night that you get 9, like, you've now allowed a large margin for error for that big 3 because we were talking, this team goes as the big 3 goes. But if your bench actually contributes, that's not necessarily the truth. That means they can have, an off night shooting and still be all right. And that was, that's a huge benefit.
I wanted to bring this up. I'm looking at the stats here, and it leads to a point both of you guys are making. I keep saying the 3-point attempts are just as important as the makes, right? Mm-hmm. Interestingly enough, if you look at everyone that played today, damn near every person that made a 3 took at least 4 each. So you got 7 from Grayson now, attempts. 7 from Grayson, 8 from KD, 4 from Beal, 8 from Book, 6 from Gordon, 6 from Royce. I'm sorry, Bobo just took 2, 1 for 2. But that's the distribution you need. Like, if you want Eric Gordon to score 21, he's got to be able to take 6, 7 threes.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the problem. You see too many games where you look at Eric Gordon and you'll be like, he's 1 for 3 or didn't shoot at all.
Which makes no sense.
Correct.
So that was the Sixers game. You're wondering what his line was. In 19 minutes, the most off the bench, he was 0 of 2 from the field.
That can't happen.
Yeah,
and he didn't take a 3.
That can't happen.
And I feel like it was the first 13, 14 minutes he didn't even take a shot.
Yes.
At all.
Thank you, Eric.
Which is kind of criminal for a guy that's known as being a gutsy shooter there. Okay, so you talk about shooting attempts. The Suns are now 6-1 when they attempt more than 40 3-pointers.
Damn.
6-1.
Gerald had a really good tweet. I'm going to find it. Sorry, go ahead.
And last night didn't count because they only had 39.
That's true.
So, I mean, tonight was, again, they've only shot 40-plus 3-pointers 7 times this season. They're 6-1 in those 7 games. To me, that seems like a pretty simple, hey, let's continue to get open looks like this.